Deeper into the graphite mine, Luca followed his newfound guide, the miner who had shown him kindness in a place where kindness seemed scarce. The narrow tunnels twisted and turned, and the air grew heavy with the scent of earth and sweat. The clinking of pickaxes echoed around them, a ceaseless rhythm that had become the heartbeat of this subterranean world. As they descended further, Luca's anticipation mounted. He clutched the small satchel containing the few possessions he had brought on this journey, the crumpled note from his mother, a tattered photograph of his father, and the hope that had sustained him through countless trials. Each step took him closer to the possibility of reuniting with the man who had left him behind. Finally, they reached a chamber where miners toiled with grim determination. Luca's heart leapt as he saw a man whose silhouette seemed familiar, hunched over a piece of graphite. The man's hands were rough and calloused, and his hair was streaked with grey, but there was no mistaking the resemblance. It was his father, Marco. Tears welled up in Luca's eyes as he approached Marco, his voice quivering with emotion. "Father." Marco turned, his eyes widening in disbelief as he gazed upon the son he had abandoned years ago. Emotions swirled within him, guilt, regret, and a flicker of hope. "Luca?" he whispered, his voice choked with emotion. Father and son embraced, their tears mingling in a moment of raw, unspoken emotion. It was a reunion long overdue, a moment that held the power to mend the broken bonds of their family. Luca felt a surge of love and forgiveness, overwhelming the years of hurt and abandonment. But amidst the tears and hugs, there was a sense of awkwardness, a chasm of unspoken questions that hung in the air like a heavy fog. Why had Marco left his family? What had driven him to this life in the graphite mine? Luca knew that the answers lay shrouded in the depths of his father's heart. As they sat down to talk, Marco explained his reasons for leaving. He spoke of financial burdens, and the weight of his failures as a husband and father. He shared the shame he had carried with him all those years, a burden that had led him to seek work in the unforgiving mine. The owner of the mine, an older man with a stern demeanor, overheard their conversation. Moved by the reunion, he approached the father and son. He offered Marco a substantial sum of money and a chance to leave the mine, to return to his family and make amends. Marco, with tears streaming down his face, accepted the offer. He knew it was a second chance, a lifeline that would allow him to rebuild the bridges he had burned long ago. Luca's heart swelled with forgiveness as he saw his father's determination to make things right. And so, they left the graphite mine behind, their hearts lighter than they had been in years. Luca had found his father, and Marco had found a path to redemption. But as they walked away from the mine, they couldn't help but wonder what the future held for their family. As Luca and Marco emerged into the open air, they were greeted by a sight that warmed their hearts. Maria and Isabella stood at the entrance of their village, tears of joy streaming down their faces. Luca's secret journey was no longer a secret, and the family was finally reunited. But as they embraced, they knew that forgiveness was only the first step. Rebuilding their family would take time and effort.